It is time for Around the 412 with Smitty and Tyler.
Welcome back to another episode of Around the 412. I'm Tyler. With me, as always, is my co-host Smitty. Be sure to go follow us on all of our social medias at Around the 412. While you're listening to the show, go check out the link in the description. We've got Facebook link for everything custom designs. It's our friend Haley Wagner's small business. She can do customized clothing for you. You can get customized Around the 412 merch. And she's also, as of a couple weeks ago, started doing some customized tumblers, coffee mugs, cups, that sort of stuff as well. So you can go check that out at the Facebook link in the description of the show. Also, go check out Keeks Barbershop at The Cut. It's the logo above my head if you're watching on YouTube. It's been there for a long time. It's also scrolling down on the ticker. He's been here since the beginning. So go check out Chris. It's our friend Christian's barbershop, Keeks Barbershop, located in Beaver, PA. The street address, still don't know it. Still don't know the street address.
Okay. Keeks Barbershop, 401 Burkitch Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Again,
okay.
Keeks Barbershop, 401 Burkitch Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Whether it's Christian, Tony, Ashley, they can all get you right. Old school vibe as soon as you walk in. Really great place. Actually, they switched locations. They used to be in Rochester. Or if you guys have been longtime listeners / watchers of Around the 412, we used to talk about them when they were located in Rochester, but moved over to Beaver. Oh, man. At least a year ago, maybe a year and a half, 2.
I think it's at least a year and a half, pushing 2, maybe.
Yeah,
they moved to the better side of the river. Let's be honest.
There we go.
I'm sure you as a Monaca,
I do agree.
Can appreciate that. Yeah.
Also,
if you haven't, this is the Pirates show, but if you haven't, check out our exclusive interview with Pat Fryermuth. It's probably
exclusive.
One of the videos.
I love throwing that word on those.
Yeah, exactly. Exclusive interview with Pat Fryermuth. You can link it, or it's well, actually, yeah, shoot, we'll link it in below. I'll link it as well in the description. Sure. Why not? Yeah. But it'll probably pop up. It's also the one that's going to be posted before this. So go check out that interview if you're a Steelers fan. If you're not, just click it on it anyway. We want the ad revenue.
Very honest about it. Yeah. Anyways, I don't, in full transparency, there is a Pirate game going on right now that they are very much in danger of losing. 4 outs away from losing to the Nationals, but that would be their first loss of the season. I wanted to open up the show and say, imagine losing, but very much looks like the Pirates are in danger of doing so. Either way, though, opening up the season the way that they did against the Marlins, this first game of this series against the Nationals, the Pirates started out their season 4-0 or 5-0. I'm sorry. So they're about to go to 5-1 against the Nationals. I forget that was a 4-game series to open the season. That just seems so weird to me. But obviously can't ask for better in terms of team results. We'll talk about maybe a performance or two that we might be concerned about. But overall, man, the contributions that they've gotten up and down the lineup, the 2-out hitting has been great. And keep in mind, this is all up until tonight been against left-handed pitching, which I would have thought, and it's a long season, so this could still happen, would have been where the Pirates really struggled was against left-handed pitching starters, especially. They just don't have, in my opinion, as good of lineup depth top to bottom against lefties because of like the right-handed specialist compared to the left-handed specialist. So really hot start to the season. Brian Hayes has done his thing. Bryan Reynolds doing his thing. Connor Joe has been fantastic to start this season. The bullpen has been unbelievable, and that's without Colin Holderman and Carmen Mlodzinski. Hard to ask for a better start than what we've gotten from the 2024 Pirates.
Another good one. I also want to shout out Michael A. Taylor. Good addition. He's been good as well. Yeah.
2 of their 3 runs batted in tonight.
Yeah, and I think that, and I was thinking about this watching, I believe it was the 4th game against the Marlins where they made the comeback, and then they swept them.
There was 2, but
there was 2. Okay, I'm not sure which game it was
in that series. But like the 4th game was the last game of the series was when Bailey Falter pitched,
that one,
and they were down 5-0.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
brother, Bailey freaking Falter.
Yeah, we can have that conversation a little bit, but
yeah, but. I thought that game specifically, and several times throughout the first 5 games of the season, but that game specifically was like a perfect example of what we thought the 2024 Pirates was going to be. Questionable starting pitching, and I still think that is very true through the first games. Even being 5-0, I still think questionable starting pitching. But reliable and strong bullpen arms. that have come in and they've been really good, and a great lineup. Honestly, a lineup that is tenacious, a lineup that is consistent, and I don't think that you're just relying. And obviously, you have the outliers that are playing really well, but I don't think you're relying on only your 1 through 4 hitters. I think that your 5 through 9 can also provide some value to you in these games, and that's why they've been winning. And so I think they've shown a lot of who we thought they were, and we were right about who they thought they were. And I mean, they're not like blowing the top off with like homers and everything like that, but sometimes small ball is what gets it done. The Pirates have shown in the past that they're willing to play a small ball, and then they can play lethal when they play small ball too. And in the small sample size that we've gotten early in the season, they've been very good at that. And I know they're losing 5-3 right now, but I full disclosure,
hey, the way that the season has started, go into the 9th and score 2-3 runs.
Absolutely. I think that this has probably been the most fun opening to a season that we've had in a very, very long time. Obviously, because they're winning. Being 5-0 to start the season is awesome. I don't even know the last time the Pirates have ever done that.
1983.
1983.
I got it for you right. Yeah.
Wow. So 41 years ago.
Here's something though, and I didn't come up with this. Big cap tip to Ryan Alexander, who, by the way, apparently doing stuff again with North Shore 9. Great, congratulations. Great to see him back and then fold to whatever caliber that is. They've been doing great stuff over there, by the way. I mean, I hate to say that, but like their post game show being sponsored by Permanis, that's big time. So shout out to them for all the great stuff that they've done, especially because they are one of those shows, along with Pirates Fan Forum, that we bring up that actually talk about the Pirates during their off season. So I feel like we got to tip our cap a little bit to them anyway. But he mentioned that they've started out 5-0. This is the 6th time now in franchise history. It's only happened 5 times before this. Every other time that they've done that, they finished the season above 500.
Is it destined then? It has to be, right?
Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying that it means anything for the 2024 version of the Pirates, but history's on their side.
Yeah, you're not saying, but you're just saying.
Right. Which is
basically
everything that I say.
It's been great. I don't think that we could have asked for anything better outside of maybe a better opening day start and a better start as of recording this tonight on Wednesday for Mitch Keller. He hasn't looked as good as we would have hoped to open the season. But outside of that, it's been awesome. It's really been awesome. And I keep saying it, but it's true. Like up and down this lineup, I just think it is so much fun to watch. There's just so many guys that are more intriguing this year. And I think it was 2019's opening day lineup that someone posted on opening day this year. And I was looking at it and I'm like, what the hell am I looking at based off of what we are getting this season?
Everyone that has at least 20 plate appearances is hitting going into tonight was hitting at least 250. And that was Henry Davis, who's on base, was 429 to go along with that 250. I mean, Bryan Reynolds, 333. Brian Hayes, 391. Connor Joe, 348. Oneil Cruz, 316. Michael A. Taylor, 471. Jared Triolo, 294. Like, I mean, Andrew McCutchen, 154. That's really been, and Jack Sawinski, who was 133, but also very limited plate appearances because of going against lefties. He homered tonight, going against the righty. So we know that how his splits are going to be.
I mean, but listen to this lineup from a few years ago. Listen, just listen to this. And this is from an April 7th game. I'm assuming from 2019 is what I would guess. Leading off, you had Kevin Newman, and then you had Wilmer Defoe at third, Colin Moran at first. Left field was Phillip Evans, friend of the show, by the way. Shortstop was Eric Gonzalez. Right field, Gregory Polanco. Center field, Dustin Fowler. And catcher was Michael Perez. And you had Chad Cole on the bump. I mean, what was that lineup?
Oh, brother, yeah.
That's that lineup? That's amazing.
There's obviously some individuals that I still want to single out pitching wise, but as a whole, we talked about the bullpen, right? We talked about what great strength we thought it was going to be for this club. And then like last week going into the season, we were like, do we maybe pause this a little bit because they're not going to have Holderman or Mlodzinski going into the start of the season? No fear. Absolutely no fear when you got guys like Ryder Ryan doing what he's done to start the season. Hunter Stratton's been good. Josh Fleming's been solid when he's been called upon. Luis Ortiz in relief. David
Aroldis
Bednar
Chapman.
gave up that homer. Like, honestly, he's the one that looked a little shaky.
He's the one that and that was in that comeback with the Bailey Falter start.
Right. Yeah, that's why it went to extras. Is he gave
But
up,
Aroldis Chapman, the inning before.
Oh my!
It's really nice when you have.
Remember when we were talking about that velocity being down in spring training? He was like,
yeah,
was he
like,
maybe
nope.
he's just getting ramped up still.
Here's
like,
102.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it is really nice to see him throwing triple digits for your team instead of against your team. That's a pleasant sight.
Tim Anderson was just like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, he was just like,
and then you mix in
What
like
do I
the off-speed stuff of like an 89 mile per hour slider. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk about obviously the one starting pitching performance that like I'm really excited to talk about. But before that, you briefly mentioned Mitch Keller. This is his second start tonight. Neither one of them have gone particularly good. The velocity was down in spring training. Is there a concern level for you yet? I mean, I'll answer first, because for me there's a little bit, just because last year the first half was awesome. But it's not like he was fantastic in the second half of last season. I know that maybe we were giving him a little bit of a pass. He was shouldering pretty much the entire load. They had like 2 starters in 3 games, which would be bullpen games by the time last season wrapped up. So I fully get that. I'm taking that into consideration with this as well. But there is just a part of me that is worried about the workload maybe, and that being the biggest reason that the velocity's been down. He's leaving a lot of pitches up. That cutter has not been effective at all. He left one up to Joey Gallo, who took him yard tonight. He's getting hit around the yard a little bit. He's been able to wiggle his way out of some jams, so it hasn't been as ugly as it could be. But I will say, like, there is a little bit of a level of concern for me. And if that turns into a bigger level of concern for him personally, it's going to be a massive level of concern in terms of the rotation as a whole, because they didn't build a rotation that would be prepared for a Mitch Keller regression.
No, right now they are built around Mitch Keller and trying to fill in spots behind him. And his first start, I didn't think I thought it was shaky. Didn't think it was that great, but I thought maybe it's just like first game jitters. It's opening day. You know how that can be. And second outing tonight, I thought like it's just not that great. There's a lot of contact, a lot more contact than I would feel more comfortable with. Like, if he's giving up homers, then that's one thing, but he's giving up a lot of hits. And that's another thing that I don't think is that good for what you would want out of your ace. 8 earned runs, 10 runs total. I think that it's definitely concerning to me that your first 2 starts for your quote unquote ace is not that great. I mean, you have better outings from a couple other guys in your rotation so far. And I understand it's only a couple starts, but like you mentioned, it's a continuation of from last season. And the first half of Mitch Keller, awesome. Second half, kind of regressed, and there was a couple of different things you could chalk it up to. You just mentioned that you could chalk it up to him basically shouldering all the work as the starting pitcher and doing the most that he can. Also, the team, I mean, at that point until the end of the season where they kind of went on a little run, in the middle of summer, they kind of got into a lull. So it wasn't like that great of a team until they got to September, and somehow they managed to go on a little bit of a run there. But I still think that there is concern because you had the entire offseason, you had spring training, and listen, like, he didn't look like a world beater in spring training, but like, he wasn't getting hit as much as he was. And I understand spring training is spring training. It's not the actual season, but I do think that I'm not like hot. If I have a meter for Mitch Keller and my concern for him, I'm not towards like hot or anything, but it's like slightly warm. It's like room temperature right now, because out of something that you want your starting pitcher to be, like, he's just not being that right now. And I guess I should say they're lucky to be 5-0, that they're 5-0 and they can have the luxury of him not having the starts that they need, because there may be times this season where you're relying on a guy like Mitch Keller to give you those types of starts to even get wins. So they're lucky that they have the lineup in the rotation, or the lineup in the bullpen, to be able to make up for some of the pitching that they've gotten. But I do think there is concern about Mitch Keller. And I wonder if Mitch Keller is also going to be continuing to pitch the way that he is right now. You don't see signs of any improvement anytime soon. Does that speed up the clock for a guy like Paul Skeens to come up? Not necessarily saying that Mitch Keller, obviously he's not going to get sent down or anything, but like, do they think they need another arm if Mitch Keller is not being as dominant as he wants in carrying that rotation? Does that speed up the clock that they get Paul Skeens up to the majors?
There's been a lot of conversation about Paul Skeens, like if he has a few good starts at AAA, maybe that clock is sped up independently of what's going on in the rotation. I don't know. It's hard to figure out what exactly the organization wants to see before pulling that trigger. Like, is it going to be more about Paul individually or what's going on in the majors ahead of him? Because I want to tie this conversation into the other guy that had a disappointing start amongst the rotation, Bailey Falter. But like disappointing, like actually, I don't even know if I could say that because it's almost like that's kind of like
we knew who he was. That's the problem.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, that's what I was kind of getting at was like, is it really disappointing because you kind of had the result that you expected? Maybe not all within one inning like that, 5-0 before you can take a breath. But at the same time, does that maybe speed up the clock? There's been some conversation about that. Like if Bailey Falter goes out and does that again, maybe it's not for Paul Skeens, but like Quinn Priester, who pitched that same day, had a really good start down at AAA. Like, could he get another crack? Is Bailey Falter opening that door? So I think kind of this conversation could go a plethora of directions. Jonathan Mayo and somebody else, I can't remember who it was, was having a conversation about it. And they both said, like, I wouldn't be thinking that I wouldn't have the mindset that we're going to have to wait until June to see Paul Skeens. They both think it's going to happen before then. There was even some conversation like they predict it's going to happen. I think they even put a date on it. I wasn't sure exactly why. Maybe that's the first date that it could be. I want to say it was like May 12th or something. And I was like, what is the significance of this date? May 3rd. Jim Callis and Jonathan Mayo project that Paul Skeens will be called up to Pittsburgh on May 3rd. That has to be the first day that it could be. It's actually 1 month from when this is being recorded, because I don't know why they would be so steadfast on that date specifically.
I mean, it is an opening series at home against the Rockies.
That's right. I'm going on May 4th.
And that is on a Friday night. So
I might have to switch my plans.
That would be when you do it, I guess, if you're looking at like opponent, home, and the day of the week. But
yeah,
I think the clock has to be sped up for when he gets up here. How can you have a guy like Bailey Falter in your rotation when you have Paul Skeens down in the minors, and even Quinn Priester, who had a good start in his first week at AAA? I understand the struggles that Quinn Priester had last year, but with the pedigree that Quinn Priester has, being that first-round pick for the Pirates several years ago, for another friend of the show, by the way, that's just someone that you would rather be watching. I feel like I would rather watch Quinn Priester go out there and get shelled, if that's going to be the case and that happens, than Bailey Falter, because I know Bailey Falter is going to get shelled. But I know that Quinn Priester has some upside to him, some potential to him. So I'd rather watch that. And especially with Paul Skeens, I think if you're flirting with May and Bailey Falter is still out there and he's still pitching the way that he is, and neither of those guys are, I don't know what management is doing. And I think that Paul Skeens specifically, I mean, I understand he only threw 3 innings in his first start in Indianapolis, but if he throws,
that was planned to be that way. Like that's,
yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, if they get to a point where he's throwing like actual games and he throws a couple games where he looks ready, I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't wait. I think you've seen in these first 6 games of the season, being 5-1. I mean, it's not official yet, but they're still losing 5-3 at the top of the ninth.
There's 2 outs.
Being 5-1 at the beginning of the season, you've seen the potential of this lineup. You've seen the arms that the bullpen has. The thing that you really need to solidify is that starting pitching. And if Mitch Keller is not going to take the step forward early in this season to be the pitcher that he was early in last season, then you're going to need to solidify it even more than what you were expecting to. And having guys like Bailey Falter go out there every 5th game is not going to be doing it. You need to get Paul Skeens up here sooner than later. And I think that you need to get Quinn Priester up here. I would do it right now.
lower it, by the way, live as we are recording. The Pirates have lost their first game of the season. I think what we've learned from this is Around the 412 is not allowed to record when the Pirates are playing. That's my takeaway.
Well, that's going to be tricky because baseball plays like every day, almost.
I know. Like we like to work around the team schedules. It's easy with the Penguins because, we just see what days they're playing during the week and what days they aren't. But like the Pirates, they don't have very many off days. Even if it was like, I guess we could have done tomorrow after they play the Nationals at 4:05, but that didn't happen. So next week I'm looking ahead. Oh, okay. Next week will be good. Next week they play Tuesday in the afternoon, 12:35.
Okay.
So
there we go. But when do the Penguins play? That's the question. We might be asking ourselves, who cares?
We might be asking ourselves, who cares? Huge Penguins game coming. It's going to feel like a playoff game. Every game is a playoff game for them at this point. They do not play on Tuesday because they play Monday against the Leafs. So
W schedule. Yeah.
So peel behind the curtain. We're telling you right now when we're recording next week, it's going to be Tuesday, April 9th. Anyways, the one performance that I was really excited to talk about, though, our guy. We were the first Pittsburgh podcast to interview him when he got drafted, Jared Jones. Man, it is crazy to see.
Entire podcast too on Twitter. Well, I say the entire podcast. Like 13 minutes. Like 12 minutes.
No, shout out to Jared. Obviously, man, what a difference! Like visually looking at him then to where he's at now. First off, the flow is great. The facial hair going on. He was just
the chest hair.
Chest hair.
A
couple buttons undone.
I'm not trying to be weird about it, but like the chest hair.
That's a man. Surprise. I didn't know he was rocking it. Yeah. But man, that it obviously, like, I don't want to oversell how good of a debut this was, right? Like he didn't go out there and throw a no-hitter or something in his debut, but the amount of swings and misses he got, 10 plus strikeouts, just everything. The most electric debut, I feel like, is the best way of putting it, because it wasn't the best Pirates debut that we've seen. But like sitting there watching it, that was like the most fun that I've had watching the debut since I was in person watching Garrett Cole's.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that Jared Jones proved what the Pirates weren't making a mistake when they chose to call him up to the big leagues to start the season. And I thought he did a phenomenal job. Obviously not perfect, let up a few runs there, but in your first start, getting 10 strikeouts, the amount of swing and misses like you just mentioned, I thought it was spectacular. I thought the team behind him played very well in that game. And that was just an overall fun game to watch. And it just makes me happy even more so knowing that he got that in his debut and that he could be a piece of this rotation. We said opening the season, there's a lot of question marks going around this rotation. If Jared Jones can be a more solidified piece of the rotation, that answers one of your question marks. And obviously he has the one start. Pretty sick that he gets to get the start on opening day in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
The home opener in Pittsburgh. I'm sure that's going to be electric as well.
Has that officially been announced? Are they just not announcing it just because it's just happens to be his turn in the rotation?
Yeah, I don't think they've announced anything, but anybody can do math and see when they're pitching.
Right. I just like how mad would you be? I know I'd be very mad if they just changed had him wait an extra day or so. Like
we're going with Bailey Falter.
Yeah, that's who it would be too, I guess. Because
you go from a sellout crowd to like half crowd. It looks like a Tuesday night on April 14th. No, I think that if he can be consistent. And I'm not expecting 10 strikeouts every time he goes out there. But if he could be consistent like he was, giving up like a couple runs a game, getting into the sixth inning of the game, that's the recipe for the Pirates to win. They've shown that they have the offense to be able to score several runs in a game. And they've shown that they have the arms of the bullpen. If you get to the fifth, sixth inning, it's easy for them to shut a team down. So I think that start that Jared Jones had, despite the strikeouts, if they can get that on average from starting pitching as far as like the innings pitched and the runs given up, that's a recipe for success for the Pirates moving forward, no matter who's pitching. Obviously, the 10 strikeouts, I'll take them any game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people share that sentiment too. Like even just on being on, I almost said Twitter, on X during that game, I feel like just like everybody engaging during Jared Jones's debut, like it's just, man, it was just such a cool feeling watching it all together, seemingly.
Yeah, and then there was everybody engaging during Bailey Falter's
Yeah,
debut.
not even 24 hours later. Yeah. from Saturday night
drastic,
to Sunday afternoon.
like the complete 180, completely different. I mean, it's nothing against Bailey Falter personally, but like,
hey, he didn't put himself in the rotation.
I know.
Yeah, that's where I always stand on this stuff with these players. Like, he stinks, but he didn't like put himself in the rotation, so I can't really be mad at him. I see people saying like, screw Bailey Falter, like all this stuff. Like, he isn't the reason that he himself is out there. So,
I got to be honest. I tweeted that the Office meme of Michael, and he's like, if I was in a room with Hitler, Bin Laden, and Bailey Falter, I had to come with 2 bullets, I'd shoot Bailey Falter twice.
That's bad. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Also a piece of news. I guess we should talk about. They traded for Joey Bart, which crazy to think about. A lot of name recognition there. Former number 2 pick. Everybody thought it was a setback with Yasmani Grandal, but Jason DeLay going on IL, whatever's going on there. So, man, I mean, the high pedigree. Yeah, he hasn't been very good. Pretty good defensive catcher, though. The bat has just never come around in the way that you would have thought. He was supposed to be the heir apparent to Buster Posey, which, I mean, a high name to try to live up to.
Pretty high bar to live up to.
One of my favorite players of all time, by the way, Buster Posey. Always loved him. But yeah, I mean, Joey Bart, I think he could do a lot worse in terms of a backup catcher. They play, I'm curious if he plays already tomorrow because he got an afternoon game after a night game.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. Did someone go on the DL or the?
Well, Jason DeLay is going to be the move. I don't know if they officially did that yet, but yeah, he did. They put him on IL with a knee. Yeah.
Or IL, not DL. It's not disabled list anymore.
Right. Jason DeLay went on the IL with a knee injury, so I would presume it's going to be Joey Bart. Henry Davis has done a lot of catching. Don't think he'll catch it. I mean, it's 405, not 1235. I don't know how much difference that makes when they're penciling in a lineup. So we could see Joey Bart's Pirates debut. Well, I say tomorrow, but
when you're listening to this, you've already seen it, maybe. And if you haven't, then
hopefully the Pirates have picked up a 6th win by the time that you are watching or listening to this.
Yeah, shout out to Hunter Hodes. The Nationals stink.
No, we're not giving a shout out to Hunter Hodes.
All right, screw Hunter Hodes.
I guess that was a joke of a shout out, so I guess we can allow it. It wasn't like a legit shout out.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got what we needed out of this first week or so of Pirates baseball. I'm very pleasantly surprised with the way things have started out here. Anything else?
No, let's go Bucs. Go Jared Jones. Have a great home opener.
Yes. Looking forward.
Presumably.
I will be watching on my phone probably because I will be traveling to Philly for WrestleMania this upcoming weekend.
That's where I watch every game on my phone.
So, yeah. But either way, shout out to Jared Jones. I might have to send him a good luck message. Will he reply to it? I don't know. But he's been on the show before.
I'll probably look at it and be like, who the hell is this guy?
Wait, I actually have a really funny story. Listen. I sent Clay Holmes. I sent JT Brubaker a message who was traded to the Yankees, and we follow each other. He was one of the first, 15 or so guys to have a Trust the Buck and Process shirt. So we follow each other on Instagram. I sent him a message, and it wasn't Cody that he thought I was. I don't know who he thought I was. I don't know who's done cleats for him, but he replied and said, "Thanks, man. Still have those cleats that you did for me. If I ever need more work done, I'll hit you up." And I was like, I replied back and I was like, sorry, man, this is not who you think it is. I'm the Trust the Buck and Process t-shirt guy. And he was like, oh my God, dude, I feel so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. But then I sent that to Cody, and Cody's like, no, I didn't do cleats for him, so I don't know who that is. So it beats me who he thought that I was.
That is awesome.
JT Brubaker, shout out to him. Now a member of the New York Yankees. Best of luck to him. I don't think he can pitch until July, the injury that he's coming back from this year. But I'll be interested to see how that plays out, because the Pirates sent him and international money for a player to be named later. And Sherrington said he feels like they're going to get a good player back in that.
Jason Dominguez.
Man, I jokingly quoted and just said Soto. And it got like 100 likes for some reason, just saying the name Soto. But anyways, yeah, shout out to the Bucs if they keep playing baseball, keep it rolling. Well, they keep playing baseball. I should have said good baseball. Keep playing baseball the way that they have.
Keep
so
playing
far.
baseball. Team,
They're gonna play baseball. Let's see how good it is, though.
the team might liquidate and just diminish.
I mean, if that happened, yeah, I would come back to this clip and be like, I mean, I kind of predicted it that it would happen. It was a possibility.
Also, actually, while we're on the baseball, on the baseball show, can we talk about the Oakland A's for a second and the whole the last?
Is there any Oakland A's podcasts? I wonder.
I'm sure there is, but the last dive bar wristbands and that the players being set down or traded or released are the ones that are supporting that like company that has basically like our version of sell the team, except Oakland A's version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a conspiracy theory I am 100% buying into.
Dude, it's so bad. I mean, obviously, I feel like what triggered that in your mind was seeing the pictures of what their stadium has looked like so far this season with the amount of fans that they have there. But my God, it's so bad. I feel bad for actual Oakland A's fans. There was a time where they were like my second team. I loved watching, like when Donaldson was there. I mean, they had some really fun teams throughout there. Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, like they've had some talent come through that organization.
Mark McGwire.
But no, like that was not when I was a fan of them. Coco Crisp, Oakland A's legend as well.
Man, you got to feel bad for Billy Bean, huh?
Scott Hatteberg, Miguel Tejada. Yeah, they've had some talent.
Scott Hatteberg.
Played by, why am I blanking on the name? Chris
Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. What a different role for him. I mean, you look at what he had gone on to do since. Very funny. Anyways, we're way off topic now, but anyways, this has been the Around the 412 Pirates Show. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us everywhere at Around the 412. Check out the links in the description. Actually, there's going to be a couple this time because we got everything custom designs. Our friend Haley Wagner, small business, t-shirts, hoodies, a bunch of different custom stuff. Just not hats. Recently started doing tumblers as well. And then we're going to link the Pat Fryermuth exclusive interview. Yes, exclusive interview down there below as well. Above Tyler, also coming across the ticker right now, Keats Barbershop logo. Keats Barbershop located 401 Burkitch Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Again, that's 401 Burkitch Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Christian, Tony, Ashley, they do a great job over there. Old school vibe, awesome stuff. They've been here pretty much since day one with us. They have merch as well. So their merch is actually pretty sick. Even if you're not like, I feel like even if you don't get your hair cut there, like the design is just cool. You guys can see what like the original design looks like, but they've come out with some different stuff since then. So also support them in that way. But anyways, Keats Barbershop, 401 Burkitch Way, Suite 2, Beaver, PA. I'll say it again. Follow us everywhere at Around the 412. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hit us in the comments with your thoughts so far on the Pittsburgh Pirates season. Until next time, be sure to check out another episode. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.